What's up, y'all? I hope everybody's well. I am well. I'm well. And I wanted to come on and talk because, I had this instinct to talk about, I was reflecting about the power of the moment that we're in and the power of, the work that I feel like I'm up right now, but also the power that we are collectively up to, and the we is this community, the folks who participate in these videos, the folks who have signed up for Buy Back Black Debt, the folks who have supported the GoFundMe campaign that I just posted today. There are a multitude of different ways in which we are doing something really powerful. The folks who are supporting the Buy Back Black Debt that's working to pay off my student loans. I just want to talk about the power of our community, but I want to use an anecdote about whiteness to highlight it. So on the thread, that is the information about sort of the update about the campaign about the Buying Back Black Debt that is my student loans. Someone posted a comment, and it was a white woman who posted a comment saying that they felt uncomfortable about this campaign. It didn't feel okay to be supporting, they read my book, but it didn't feel okay to be supporting a famous author, when there are so many people who are struggling, who they'd rather help. And there's so much to unpack in that comment. There's so much to unpack in that comment. So y'all gonna have to bear with me. This one might be long. I'm not sure yet. It may not. I want to frame what we're doing first, and then I'm going to go back to that woman's comment. What is so amazing is that we are actually modeling what a liberatory economic model might look like. What in The Body Is Not an Apology I've actually called best interest buying. But long before I said anything, with the 7 principles of Kwanzaa called, I believe the principles Kujichagulia, and you all could correct me if I'm incorrect, but it's cooperative economics. And that's the principle that we're practicing right now. We're practicing a principle rooted in African communal living. And the principle is, quite simply, that together we have what we need to take care of each other. That's it. The truth of the matter is that the collective power of us together has the ability to meet all of our needs. And capitalism doesn't want you to believe that, because capitalism depends on scarcity. Capitalism requires you to believe that there is not enough, and so thusly you must hoard in order to actually ever be able to meet your needs. And what we're proving through Buy Back Black Debt, through watching hundreds, maybe thousands of people help to pay back my debt, to watch those same hundreds of people lift this black family out of poverty, which is really what I believe is about to happen, what we're about to do for this black family. What we are doing collectively is shifting the economic value that many hands make a light load, that all of us collectively moving together. Actually, we could take the same 1,000 people that are paying off my student loan and every month pay off a different human being's student loan. The truth is, we could do it every week. If everybody had $10 and it was like, $40 a month I give to the pay down student loan campaign, to the Buy Back Black Debt for black folks with student loans, or black folks with IRS debt, or whatever it is that they have. And we could clear thousands ultimately. And again, the cumulative impact of this is that you could actually clear millions of people's debt this way. This is a prototype, as they say, right? This is us testing out, what does it look like to put our economic leverage toward taking care of one another? And what does it look like when we decide that that's actually what it is that we would rather do with our money? That is profoundly powerful. And that is what we are practicing right now. And so I wanted to frame what it is we're doing because it's transformative, because it is the model for the future we're going to, right? And so right now we're practicing in today what tomorrow is going to look like, because we already know capitalism is unsustainable, right? That this model of consumerism and individualism is unsustainable. And so what does it look like if we just take care of each other, right? So that's point one. I said I was going to go back to the white lady because I want to point out the way that whiteness operates, right? And the way that whiteness operates in the space of communalism and collective work, right? Is there are so many things in her comment that are that are reflections of white supremacist delusion. The very first one is the belief that, so what she said is like to pay off the loans of a famous author. So first of all, there's a false equivalency that's happening. That is like, because I'm visible, I must be rich, right? Like that's that there is some connection that she has made with visibility, because she said in multiple revenue streams. And so in her brain, this connection between visibility and even what I find fascinating about multiple revenue streams, right, is like I'm an entrepreneur who does many things, right? But the assumption is that somehow those efforts yield some kind of wealth, right? So there's it is an inherent misunderstanding. I'm being generous when I say a misunderstanding, because I don't actually think it's a misunderstanding, right? What I think it is, and what feels very clear to me in her point, right, is that I only help Black people who are struggling. So if I only help Black people who are struggling, then I'm invested in Black people struggling. That's it. Because that's what that must mean, is, right? If you're only willing to help those who you perceive first and foremost as struggling, it's the perception of struggle, right? If you don't code yourself in a way that I discern as struggling, then you're not worthy of my help, right? So that's one piece, right? But also the word not worthy of my help is white saviorism, right? It's like, no, I need to actually feel like I've done something that makes me feel better. So this isn't actually about me giving into a collective energetic effort to alleviate some systemic inequity in the world. It is about how good I feel about myself. I don't feel good about this, makes me uncomfortable and I don't feel good. So peep how whiteness centers itself in an experience created by a woman of color to support another woman of color. But whiteness shows up to say, I don't feel comfortable about this woman of color creating an initiative to support another woman of color, because I don't deem that particular Black woman worthy of my help. That's Rotten Tomatoes, y'all. There's whiteness all up and down that. But let me clear up some things for people who might be a bit confused. I'm not rich. Let me clear. Don't let Instagram likes fool you. Right? Because yes, there are people, and they're mostly white, on Instagram who get paid to be influencers, and they make millions of dollars. They make, goo gobs of money. I don't have, as of, if I were to pay off all of my student loans by myself, my account would be not enough to cover rent. If I paid off all my student loans, I'd be broke. Period. I don't have wealth. I don't have wealth. I'm not wealthy. And guess what? The little bit of money that I do have in my bank account, let me tell you where it came from. Because white people woke up when a police officer put a knee on a Black man's neck and murdered him in the street. And then all of a sudden, white people were awake and started sending me money. And prior to that, my account looked like, if I didn't get on a plane and go talk to y'all, I didn't have money. And so there's an assumption about visibility. There's assumption, the idea that there is some worthiness that I need to meet in order to be worthy of this white woman's help is white supremacy. It is, I am interested in assisting you in so much as I deem you desperate enough, which means I am committed to the desperation of blackness so that I can continue to feel better about myself. But even beyond that, I don't care if I have $5 million in the bank. To be audacious enough as a white person to get on the black woman's page and tell her that the collective efforts of her community to alleviate the results of systemic white supremacist delusion in her life makes you uncomfortable is the epitome of white supremacist delusion. If it makes you uncomfortable to see black people thrive, you need to explore why. If it makes you uncomfortable to see me live my best life, you need to explore why. If the only thing that makes you feel endeared toward black people is that they are struggling, you are invested in anti-blackness and white supremacist delusion up to your eyeballs. And I would invite you to go back and read my book 6 more times, because you missed major messages. Major messages. You know, I had a moment I posted the other day about Tourmaline. She's a trans woman activist, and folks were raising money for her to get a pink Mercedes-Benz for her birthday. And they was raising googobs money, right? Or not googobs. Like, let's be real. Let's also put it in the scale of global capitalism. $100,000 is not googobs of money. It's not. It's more money than most poor black folks have ever seen in one time. But it's not googobs of money. Jeff Bezos has googobs of money. Bill Gates has. Those people have the kind of money that should make student loans obsolete for every person in this country. But you're on my page complaining about the money that people, the $10 and $20 that people are directing towards me, right? But anyway, so they're raising this money for Tourmaline to have a pink Mercedes-Benz. And my first instinct was, but there are people struggling. And then I sat with myself, because this is what happens when you do some work, is that you actually recognize that your initial response is about you. It's not actually about them. It's about you. And so I sat with myself and I said, Sonya, what about them raising this money makes you uncomfortable? Right? And it was like, right. Because I am oriented to assume that we should only struggle. Because whiteness lives in me too. The indoctrinations of whiteness live in all of us. And so the indoctrination of whiteness that says that we should only be of assistance to trans people when we're murdering them, when they're being murdered, is a skewed and sick orientation towards the lives of trans women. This black trans woman deserves joy and delight and an overflow of abundance. She deserves to be ostentatious in her joy. And what would it look like if we all decided to sow a seed into people's ostentatious joy? And not as an either or prospect. Not I only sow seeds into that which is ostentatious. I sow seeds so that people who are struggling can also come up to joy. Not if the only thing that you're willing to support is that somebody can meet their basic needs and, you know, like that they're not homeless on the street and not being murdered, your bar is too low. Your bar is too low. And you've missed the entire point of all the work that I do. Radical self-love isn't stingy. It isn't paltry. It isn't thin. Again, I tell people all the time, I give from my overflow. And so the people who are supporting this campaign are people who are interested in making sure that this black woman continues to have overflow in her life. And what a precious and beautiful gift. And what I'm offering is that we get to do that for everyone. There are about 250 people who are about to be paired with folks to lift burden from their lives. But it's not just about lifting burden. It's about how do we open the space to create overflow for everyone so that we're not just asking for scraps. And how dare you in your whiteness propose that that's the only thing worthy of offering our energy to. It's unacceptable. It is the epitome of white supremacist delusion. And the least you could do is keep it to yourself. It's the least you could do. And so when that comes up in you, that thing that sees someone that sees a collective of people looking out to bring joy, laughter, decadence to someone else's life who's historically marginalized, if you have any kind of instinct that tells you that's not okay, just sit with yourself. Because there's something underneath that that's about your own story of lack. It's about your own story of not being helped. Or that it's about your own investment in the hierarchy of identities and bodies in this world. The hierarchy in which you continue to get to be above and throw coins down on the heads of the people that are below you so that you can feel superior. We got to investigate our motives, y'all. What we're doing is creating a new economic system. In this tiny community, we're creating a new economic system. I am beyond inspired by the possibility of this. I'm beyond inspired by the people who have stepped up and said, yes, I'm down to be a part of this. And I'm beyond inspired, not even inspired, I'm beyond gratitude for the people who have loved me enough to lift this burden off of me. It's massive. What a gift. What a gift to not be in indentured servitude to the U.S. government. What a freedom. And so if you have a problem with people trying to help me be free, or trying to help any Black person be free, you haven't done the work yet. There's more to do. Let's keep building this new liberatory economic system, y'all. I love you.